In those days, covers were more important than they are today because the books were on sale at newsstands. They're not on newsstands anymore. Now, if you want a comic book in America, you have to go to a comic book store, and you usually know what you want before you go there and you ask for it. So it almost doesn't matter what's on the cover. You know the book you want. But in the earlier days, all these books were on the newsstands, and there were hundreds of different titles, and you hoped that your cover would stand out from the rest. So I concentrated very much on the lettering of the masthead, on the way it was colored, on making it very clear and easy to read, and so it would be recognizable from far away if somebody was just walking by, so it would catch his or her eye. We treated our covers like posters or billboards. They had to be able to be seen and understood at a glance, and they had to be colorful and inviting and attractive and so forth. And I spent a lot of time. I practically designed every cover. Before an artist would draw one, I would tell him or her how I wanted it drawn and what I wanted. And to me, they were of prime importance, because if you didn't get somebody if you didn't catch someone's interest with the cover so that he'd pick up the book, you couldn't sell the book. No matter how good the book was, the cover had to grab the reader first. So I spent a lot of time on covers. I'd say that his artwork was the most dynamic of any artist I've ever known. He made everything look interesting and look exciting. One thing we used to talk about, I remember when I first started working with him, I used to say, Jack, we want our stories to look exciting. Now, the stories won't look exciting unless the characters in the stories look excited. So let's never have anybody with a poker face, with no expression. Let's have the characters either look worried or scared or happy or excited or nervous or something, but there should always be a definite expression so that it looks like something exciting is going on. Well, I didn't even have to tell him that because he did that naturally. And if you look at any of the pages he's ever drawn, you could see it always looks as though something interesting and exciting is going on. I think Jack would have made a wonderful movie director, film director. Racism, unfortunately, I think, has been with us since Adam and Eve. It'll probably always be with us. I think if everybody had the same color skin, the people with brown hair would hate the blondes, who would hate the redheads. I don't know why it is, but there seems to be something about human nature where some people will hate people who are different in some way or other. It's a terrible thing, but it seems to exist. And in our X-Men, when I started the X-Men book, I guess I was thinking of bigotry in a way, because I liked the theme. Here were people who were different than the average person, yet they were trying to help the human race, and yet they were being persecuted and they were being hounded and harassed. I thought there was a lot of irony there, and I thought also there was a lot of symbolism and a lot of truth to it. One of the nice things that's happened is Hollywood has not suddenly, but has discovered the appeal of superhero-type characters. That is, characters that are bigger than life. Now, I feel that appeal was always there, but people weren't as aware of it. I mean, if you go back to the early days, to King Kong, to Moby Dick, Dracula, Frankenstein, all these stories that were high concept and had characters that were bigger than life, as I say, people have always loved those things. And now, since the technique has, since movies are able to now show anything you can imagine, special effects have reached the point there is nothing you can't photograph. So they take advantage of that ability now, and they can have superhero characters or fantasy stories, stories about other races, other planets, other dimensions, characters who do fantastic things that you couldn't have photographed years ago, but they can do it now. So I think not just superheroes, but I think bigger than life fantasy stories, which include superheroes, those are going to be the big type of movies of the present and the future.